Hey everybody, so Shaman,
Chris Long.
Chris Long, here again from the Harper Therapy Man Cave. Really, it's just Yolanda's office. But we get to take it over for a few minutes and we get to talk a little bit about men's issues, right?
Absolutely.
So Chris is our resident expert on all things men and mental health. And today we want to talk a little bit about depression, right? It's kind of a big thing in men.
And it's a tough one.
Right. So let's start out with what is depression and specifically why is it important to men?
We titled our blog Silent But Deadly, and the purpose of that was not to minimize or make a joke out of depression,
Right,
okay?
right.
But to be quite honest, number one, it catches your attention.
Sure.
Kind of get this, right?
Yeah, it sounds like a 12-year-old guy joke, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also a catchphrase that brings your attention to it, because a lot of times depression presents differently in men than it does in women.
Sure.
Okay? Not that persistent sadness, lack of joy, not like those things don't exist, okay? But the crying into the pillow, okay, and the not getting out of bed is not always the way it presents.
Right. So guys will still kind of trudge through the
Okay,
day-to-day.
we are socialized, okay, get up, do what you need to do,
Right,
your
go to work.
happiness doesn't matter, okay?
Right.
Just keep doing it, okay? And what happens is that builds over time. Form follows function. Brain function starts to change. It starts to shift. We create different patterns of hormones.
Sure.
Okay? And over a 3 to 6 month period, okay, it can change the total baseline of our behavior, our attitude, and our functioning.
So silent but deadly. Men just kind of deal with it.
They deal with it. They say nothing, okay? And unfortunately, many men think of it as a sign of weakness.
Right. That was going to be my next question for you. Is it considered a sign of weakness, or are you weak if you're dealing with depression?
No, to be quite honest, you're normal if you have some signs of depression.
Right,
Okay.
right.
What's not normal is if it persists and lasts beyond a period of 4 to 6 months. Okay.
Sure.
What's not normal is when your relationships start to change because of it, when your behaviors start to change because of it, when you start to lose interest in daily activities, when you start to almost lose hope, become numb or indifferent.
Right. Oh, so numbing, that's kind of a guy thing, right? We like to just, it's easy not to feel.
Oh, it's real easy not to feel, and,
Right.
and we know what numbing can lead to. It can lead to all sorts of addictions and at-risk behaviors, okay? And actually doing things out of character, just things trying to do anything to create that spark, to feel better, okay?
Right.
And frequently it complicates things and makes it worse.
Okay, yeah. So you've kind of already touched on that, but like what other kind of things, like or symptoms or with things that people, guys specifically, would be experiencing if they think they might be dealing with depression or they think they might be kind of suffering from it? What kind of things should they be looking out for?
Sure. With men, one of the first things I like to look at is fatigue, okay? Ain't as good as I once was,
Right.
okay? And part of that is aging and biological, okay? But they tend to go together. And even some of those biological cues and life changes can actually set off a little bit of depression, okay?
Right.
And if we don't adjust our behaviors, adjust our schedules, accommodate those changes, okay, boom, you get caught in that biochemical trap.
So you mean, because in my heart I'm still 22 and I can do whatever I wanted, and the fact that I can't necessarily do that physically so much anymore or be that person anymore, that might kind of cause a little bit of...
You know what? There's a biological trigger right there, absolutely, okay? And it's your relationship to the understanding of that,
Right.
okay,
Right.
is where the work has to be done.
Okay. Anything else?
Um,
You mentioned numbing a minute ago, like if you're starting to do some things that are...
loss of interest in daily activities.
Oh yeah, actually we were talking to that like a little bit ago.
Work,
Right.
okay, dreading work, okay, not that everybody loves to work, okay.
We call it work for a reason, right? We don't
Yes.
call it fun, but...
Yes, but normally we at least have a sense of accomplishment, and if we don't like our job, at least you know what, okay, you know you have your paycheck, okay, there's some sense of pride, okay. When that starts to disappear and go away, okay, there's a sign that you may be headed in that direction, okay.
Right.
Loss of interest, intimacy, sex,
Right.
okay,
disconnecting,
pulling back from friends, social isolation, not doing the things you used to do, okay? And we even talked about simple things before, okay? Like projects and things around the house that you used to actually enjoy doing,
Right.
okay? All of a sudden they go on the shelf. They don't get done week
Right.
after week after week, okay?
And you had mentioned a little bit ago, we kind of talked through this a little bit earlier, but you had mentioned a little bit ago also finding joy in different places, like not necessarily joy, but like,
Sure.
you know, the guy
At
that's
risk-
cheating on his wife, or at-risk
behaviors.
behavior, right?
At risk, absolutely, because, you know, as much as I can't condone the behaviors,
Right.
okay, a lot of times it's an attempt to create a biochemical spark.
So it's like a
You
cry
know,
for help.
Yeah, I'm going to do this because it's going to make me feel better. I'm going to take a chance.
Right.
Sometimes it's risky investments.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Sometimes it's driving like a maniac. Okay.
Sure.
Sometimes it's going out and buying a $60,000 sports car when you can't afford it.
So the
okay?
midlife crisis.
There's a lot of crossover.
Right.
A lot of crossover.
Okay. So what are some of the things that, as men, we can do in dealing with depression? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
one is get some help, right?
Well, you know what? I like to look at it from this perspective. If you had a friend who changed, okay, who wasn't the same person he used to be, okay,
Sure.
we would have no problem sitting down and saying, "Hey, man, we got to talk."
Right.
Okay, what's going on?
Right.
Okay, and that's where it starts. Okay, so we were just it's that concept of emotional honesty with yourself. Okay, that's one, and to thine own self be true. Realizing, wow, you know what, something isn't right here.
Right.
Okay, I'm breaking promises to myself. Okay,
Right.
I'm treating myself differently than I would treat other
Right.
people.
And you mentioned that breaking promises to yourself was a huge one, right? Like,
Oh, that's you know, because if you think about how complicated that gets, now I'm a failure.
right.
Okay, now I can't even keep promises to myself.
Sure,
okay, worthless, undeserved, all those feelings kind of go along with it. And then instead of being the person I want to be or doing the things that I want to do, you know what? I'm going to pick up a Budweiser. I'm going to pick up a whiskey. Okay, I'm going to go access some porn on the computer. I'm going to do just something to get away from those feelings.
Right.
And that's when you got a problem.
So you start creating this escapism.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's a difference between escape and entertainment.
Sure.
Okay,
Right.
which is important.
There's a healthy
to realize.
difference.
Yeah, a healthy difference. But guess what? When you start finding yourself more time, okay, with the escapism, okay, and starting to lose some of those relationships and things that had value in your life, it's time to get some help.
So one of the things you had mentioned earlier when we were talking through this was that the earlier you can get someone,
Sure.
the quicker you can help someone that's
Sure.
dealing with this. You know, because the problems get more and more complex.
Sure. And absolutely, a lot of people tell you it takes 21 days to create a habit. Okay.
Interesting.
But when we look at habits are biochemical. Our body gets used to it, timing, okay,
Right.
form following function, okay. What I do know is one of the methods here that we use for depression is accelerated resolution therapy, ART. Tons of literature out there. Look it up, okay? It's changing the therapy industry, okay?
Right. Eye movements.
Yes, eye movements. I do know that if I can get you early in that process, okay, it's much easier to make those adjustments and changes, okay,
Right.
than it is if it were 18 months or 2 years down the line. Because then guess what? It's probably not depression anymore. It's probably depression along with relationship problems,
Right.
maybe work problems,
Marriage
okay?
falling apart.
Yeah, and maybe some other things that go right along with it.
Right.
Okay, so the sooner you get help, the quicker, the easier, the better the prognosis.
Awesome. And they can get that help by giving us a call. We're Harper Therapy. Our number is 813-434-3639. And I think we'll probably be coming at you soon with another men's message. Right?
And remember, we work on problem solving and solutions. I'm not going to be sitting here for hours asking you how you feel. All right, guys?
Thanks a lot, guys.